Hi, everyone. I'm Christopher Thornycroft with Redwood Logistics, and welcome to the Redwood Rundown for the week of December 2nd, 2024, aka the Fire Matt Eberflus. Oh, man, that was so much more painful than I thought it was going to be. That's a tough one. So, what do you do after something that painful? You get away and you go to Mexico. You head on down to Monterey, where we've got our office with 180 people here. So very excited to hang out with everyone here. This is a great spot. We get to see great carriers, great customers, and obviously our Mexico team down here. So while I've been escaping the pain of the world, there's also pain that's laying in the domestic freight market. We projected that this week you were going to see a ton of capacity tightening, and it was going to get really, really, really rough out there. Well, yesterday we took a look at our major market average. We evaluate every single market in the country and see how tight that capacity is. And that load to truck ratio for the major market average is at the highest that it has been since July of 2022. So yes, everything that we said about the rollover in the post-Thanksgiving and the capacity dislocation, that's come true, and it's coming true even more so minute by minute. This is really getting to be a much more difficult market to move freight in. At the same time, you have volume that continues to tick on down and some weird indicators out there, really a cloudy message for what's coming on up soon. You have Cass Freight Index, for example, which has to get updated still for November, but for October, that was showing a 1.9% decrease month over month, a 2.9% decrease year over year. Some of that's to be expected with the hurricanes that came on through, but still an indicator that shipments were down. You have the PMI that just came on out at 48.4%, showing again continued manufacturing contraction, 25 of the last 26 months. We're now knocking on the door, breaking the late 90s record for the most amount of manufacturing contraction. You have, in general, just the contract load accepted value is down year over year. If you normalize out November and you look at the contract load accepted value and you strip out the Thanksgiving holiday, you are still looking at a decrease year over year in that volume. So contract volume down. So at the same time, what's really causing a pinch for shippers? Rates are going on up. We've been calling for those rates to go on up. They are continuing to go on up. We got the updates on DAT's November data that shows contract spot spread is still at 39 cents, so no change there month over month. But you did see contract rates rise 1 cent a year month over month. That's 2 consecutive months with contract rate increases. And that's also a 2 cent year over year rate increase. That's 2 consecutive months of year over year contract rate increases. Also, spot increase. Spot increased 1 cent month over month, not a lot. That's 3 consecutive months of month over month spot rate increases, and a 7 cent year over year increase. That's 5 consecutive months of year over year spot rate increases. The rates are going on up. Now, November was not a tight month for capacity. I mean, once you get to Thanksgiving, it was. But the November load to truck ratio was 3.85 to 1. Last year, November load to truck ratio, 3.21 to 1. That's 2 consecutive year over year increases on load to truck ratio. The DAT load to truck ratio has increased year over year 8 out of the last 11 months. The OTRI is sitting at 6.2%. That's a 64% increase year over year. It's a lot of numbers, but what does it all mean? It means the capacity, the supply continues to come on out. Rates are going on up. At the same time, the demand is falling on off, at least in the near term. We don't know what the longer term future is. I don't know. No one does. But right now, in the near term, demand is really low, but capacity is falling further and it's pushing rates on up. That's a tough spot for shippers to be in, especially with the high service environment that everyone is looking at with the December freight market. What happens? Well, intermodal becomes less and less of an option because there's more time on the rail, time that necessarily these goods don't have to get to where they have to go. So intermodal becomes less and less of an option, and they have to move into that for hire fleet in order to get that. Now, you also have contract rates that are being rejected. The second the contract rates are rejected, you can't just go into a private fleet to be able to source those. That's again into the for hire space, and they're being rejected for a reason. That reason is that those rates are not profitable. So that is forcing more freight into that spot market. And that spot market, again, we're talking about how that's growing. Think of that OTRI as just a growth indicator for where an indicator for where that spot market volume lies. That volume is up over last year. We continue to see that through the E2 Open updates and through Sonar data, etc. And then the more that volume grows on the spot, the more volatile this market becomes. December, we are looking at that contract spot spread. And so far, this is early, very, very early. We're 4 days in. This doesn't even count. But that said, if you're looking at the December contract spot, you're looking at 32 cents. 25 cents is our indicator for when that market moves. And historically, you do not see rates move all that much. On the early side of December, you really see that push start to happen roughly around the 16th, roughly around the 18th, where rates start to pick on up, because remember, all that freight has to deliver by the 23rd. There's not a lot shipping on the 24th. Carriers really have to get their trucks back to where they're going on the 23rd. Otherwise, they're a little bit SOL. So that's a lot of information. What we can tell you, rates, at least in the short term, those are going to continue to go on up. We'll talk to you soon. Heal your wounds. Go to Mexico. It's the best thing we can do. And to everyone in Monterey, thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Bye.